Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at some newer Yu-Gi-Oh cards. We've got new maximum summon monsters, which are those triple Yu-Gi-Oh new summon mechanics for rush duels. And on top of that, we've got some newer Yu-Gi-Oh cards to go ahead and check out. In fact, there's one card that I'm actually really excited about. Not necessarily this card. This card is going to be related to something with banishing, but I want to go ahead and have a short little discussion on this new card called Underdog as well. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop right into the video. So the first new card that we're going to be taking a look at is a new promo card. Its name is going to be Time Thief Temp Whaler, although the name of the TCG may change in the future, but it's a new Time Thief card. It's a level 4 Dark Machine effect monster, 800 attack and 1400 defense points, and it says that you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. The first part of the effect is you contribute this card, then target one monster your opponent controls, and banish that monster until the end phase. Just a heads up, this is not a quick effect. I wish it was though. The second part of it though is if this card is in the graveyard, you can target a Time Thief monster you control, except for Time Thief Temp Whaler. Return that monster to the hand. If you do, special summon this card, but this card is banished after it leaves the field. Obviously what you do is that you exceed with a detach, and then you know how it gets around that mechanic. So I still think it's a pretty good card, just because if you happen to be able to use this first part of the effect, obviously it's going to be quite nice to have access to that. Now the monster doesn't go away permanently, it's just until the end phase, which can still definitely help out depending on what monster you know it is, especially if it's an exceeds, you know, your material is going to fall off anyways. But next up, there is more of an announcement. This is just a quick thing that I do want to go over. So these are some of the new themes coming out. These are the other theme names. So we have the Mekai Abyss over here. I don't know if it's going to be related to Abyssia or something, but they did mention this is just something I'm gonna go over really quick. It might be something related in terms of, it says the imagery is somewhere cold, wet, and dark, so it could be some type of a dark, maybe water archetype would be interesting. Maybe like something Abyss Dweller, you know, the kind of like the name Abyss, you know, could be something related to that. And then on top of that, we have the Dormy Chord over here. Looks like some type of I want to say, what is the musical thing where the guy has a little like stick and he does it? I forgot what this is called. Anyways, it's related to a pendulum scale, and it says while Abyss manipulates the graveyard. So it might be something related to pendulum scales, and maybe something relating to it changing based off of the graveyard. It'll be interesting. It's just a small thing I just wanted to go ahead and take a look at really quick over here. But next up though, Underdog. So there's a few newer cards that did get revealed over here, and some of these are cards that we've gone over before, but I want to go over some of the newer ones, and as well as maybe a refresher for some of you guys, and have a short discussion on one card in particular. So the next card that we're going to do, yeah, heck, the text is so good I could read it off the image here. So this is Psychic Eraser Laser. It says send one monster your opponent controls that was special summoned from the extract to the graveyard. Then your opponent gains life points equal to the original attack or defense of that monster, whichever is higher. You can only activate one Psychic Eraser Laser per turn. The unfortunate part with this card, not a quick play. That's a huge downside with the card, and you can't just activate it from your hand during your opponent's turn. I feel like that's what we really need in this day and age, but it is technically a psychic card, so it has maybe some synergy with some other stuff, but overall, not a huge fan of that. But it is gaining life points, so you can technically do a reverse burn if you happen to want to try something like that, but honestly, let's be real. This is the card that we really want to talk about. This is Underdog. It says, during your turn, you get to negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls, but during your opponent's turn, negate the effects of all face-up monsters you control. So this could be actually pretty great for any card effects that would resolve off the field, like if you have things where it's like when this card is destroyed by battle, you get some type of floaters have been phased out in Yu-Gi-Oh, let's be honest here. Or if there is some way, and I think this is where it opens up the doors for some creativity here with this card, being able to potentially make it so you bounce back this card and then you can reset it later down the line. So obviously the whole point of it would be to bounce it back, and then you'd try to set it again, and then during the next turn. The thing with Yu-Gi-Oh is I feel like you really don't get those next turns, especially when you have to set up with this card as a trap card, and then going first and setting this is not going to be a huge surprise. I activate Underdog, I negate my own effects. That's not too good. You'd have to set it, wait for your opponent's turn to go by, then it becomes your turn, and then you get to use it. So there is still some play with this card. I definitely think some people would be interested in running this card and trying it out, and I'm curious to know what you guys think about it. Yes, it's a slower card at the end of the day, and it is is continuous though. It's not just like a once thing. So it does have some potential for some archetypes that would, again, not have any downsides. Or if a deck that is all based around trap cards, this could be something to consider as well, depending on, of course, what deck you play. Or if your monster's effects are going to be all again, resolving off the board, this could be something that doesn't affect you at all. I think this is just a cool card overall. Or also you can think about cards that activate in the hand. Remember, it's all face-up monsters. But I think this card could be definitely really good. Then some of these other cards we've already actually mentioned before, but it's also showing off, more importantly here, the rarities on some of these cards. So Heavenly Zephyr is actually going to be a secret rare, and then also the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, that's also going to be a secret rare. And then Pot of Disparity, which we've actually shown off lots of gameplay of. And a lot of people are excited about this. No surprise, secret rare. And then there's also the Angel statue, is just shown off. But I do want to go ahead and highlight this card. If you guys haven't checked out the new Angel card in Araya, Lord of Searing Flames, it's definitely a cool card to go ahead and check out. I'll pin the video down below in case any of you guys do want to check it out. Again, most of these other cards we've covered, but I just wanted to have a short discussion on Underdog over here. Next up, we got a lot of cool things. So this is the new Mythic Sword deck, I guess is what they're calling it. We have some vanillas, really not too important. I'm just going to go over these like really fast here. So Mythic Sword Soldier over here. He's 1100. It doesn't sound very mythic. I mean, when you have the name Mythic, I really feel like they could have been like new mythic rarity. I don't know. I play Fortnite. We have items called mythics in it. It makes it super exciting, right? To have something called mythic, but I guess it's an archetype that's just, it's got a lot of vanillas. In fact, most of the Rush Duels cards are kind of weak. This one actually has 1900 attack, but it's a level 6, so have some fun with that. Anyways, the card that I actually really wanted to cover, because these are just, again, vanillas, there's nothing to really talk about here. This is a new Maximum monster. And it's funny because it's an excavator, but it's an EX card. Like, those are supposed to be like the super like powerful boss monsters. But here's the artwork on it. And if you guys don't know how Maximum Summon works, you summon all of them at once. And it's in Rush Duels, you get to draw a lot of cards, so it's not like it's like really that hard to do. But here's what it actually does. So the requirement is Maximum Mode. The continuous effect is it gains 300 attack times the number of cards in your hand, but usually you're going to use everything. It only has 800 attack, but the most important thing with this is the maximum attack. This 3,500 is the actual effect that actually matters here. So I guess we have another boost, so it's like 38. Over there's no effect over on like the centerpiece. And then the other side over here, the requirement is Maximum Mode. You can activate this by placing one card from your graveyard on the bottom of the deck to choose and destroy one spell trap on the field, then draw a card. If you destroy a field spell with this effect, you can draw one card. Wow. Okay, that's not actually that bad. Finally, like a decent little effect to pop one and you know, get an extra draw. Next up, though, we have Build Dragon, the Mythical Sword Dragon. Build Dragon. Okay, the name, again, keep in mind, these might be changed for the TCG when we maybe get Rush Duels in the future over here. But the requirement is you can activate this if there's a face-up field spell on the field. And here's the artwork on it. 2500, level 8, 2000 defense. And it is going to be a Earthworm. So the effect is choose a normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Okay, this could actually be good if you just happen to have a high stat, you know, one at the end of the day. It has to be a normal then. Next up we have this card. This artwork looks really cool. Which reminds me of some of the errors in like Genshin Impact, if any of you guys play that game. Anyways, the Insurmountable Summit of Spectral Shangri-La. It's a field spell with no requirement, and it says, well, this is face up on its own. Worm types, yeah, gain 400 attack and lose 400 defense. I was like, whatever. It's like one of those like old school Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Anyways, next up we have War of the First Fantasy. So it's a normal spell. It says you can choose a spell and trap your opponent controls and return it to the bottom of its owner's deck. And then next up, though, we have the Mythic Sword Surprise Attack. So more cards for the new Mythic Sword archetype. Definitely has cool artwork. The requirement is when your opponent monster declares an attack on a face-up monster you control, Worm type, you can activate by sending a monster level 6 or lower Worm from your hand to the graveyard. And the effect is until the end of the turn, the attacking monster loses attack equal to the attack of the monster sent to the graveyard by this effect's requirement. And then lastly over here, we got the Mythical Sword Blockade, which is a normal trap card. Activate when your opponent normal summons a monster level 7 or higher. You can activate by sending one face-up Worm type monster you control to the graveyard. The effect is to choose one monster your opponent controls during this turn. Your opponent can attack with monsters with the same type as the chosen monster. Okay, that could be potentially decent. And then lastly over here, we have a new Ghost Blocker. So it's supposed to be related to Kaiku, the Ghost Destroyer, which this card actually did see some play. Like, Kaiku was a legit card back in the day, and even now it's still not a bad card for the effect, but I'm not sure if we're getting this as a new archetype, but here's the zoomed up artwork. So it's a level 4, it's got 1900 attack, and it's going to be a dark spellcaster with 800 defense. We don't know the effect of it yet. It's kind of one of those, like, they're hyping it up. So if you guys want to comment down below, what do you think this card's effect is going to be relevant this day and age with Yu-Gi-Oh? I'm trying to think about things that are related to the graveyard that, like, you know, you can banish it. I think as a quick effect, maybe, you know, it'd be like a quick play called by the grave. I think that this would be a really, really good effect. Well, you know, obviously, like, let's say like a quick effect once per turn during the player's turn. You can banish a monster that is in the graveyard. You get to negate the effects of, you know, all face-up monsters on the field and that one. I think that that would be something like legit enough to make people get hyped up to play this, because it depends on the summoning requirement on this. I mean, obviously level 4, but if it sounds like if you control like another you know, spellcaster, you can special summon it. That'd be like actually legit. But you know, sometimes they hype up these cards and they come out and they've got mediocre effects. But let me know, guys, what you think this new Ghost Destroyer, Chosai is his name, the Ghost Blocker, is actually going to be able to do in the comment section below. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for the new Yu-Gi-Oh cards. You guys can let me know your thoughts of them down below. And if you guys are new here and you want to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the future, hit subscribe, turn the bell, and you'll definitely see more as they come out. I'll show them for you guys. But anyways, take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'm out. Peace.